Hello everybody, Incon here. We have got our LAN month coming up soon. For those that don't know what that means, I mean basically the entire month of October, starting on the 7th, is basically LAN month, where it's going to be like a LAN every single day for basically the entire month. Basically 4 weeks of LAN is going to be coming at you here in October. And so what's the significance of this LAN? So step one, this is not super regionals, okay? So last year, this LAN would have been Super Regionals, which was the qualification tournament for Worlds. That is not the case this year. This is the qualification for Super Regionals LAN, okay? So if you do well at this LAN, you go to Super Regionals, and just like last year, Super Regionals will get you to Worlds. So the way it's broken up is every team is in one of two groups. There's Group A and there's Group B. 4 teams in each group, and that is for each region, so there's a total of 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. So week 1 is Group A, and then B, and then C, and then D. Easy, bada bing, bada boom. So Group A is our European group that has Orbit, which was Paradigm, which is why you can see it has the Paradigm logo. Orbit, which was Paradigm, Fantastique, Dig, as well as Sanguine Esports. These are going to be the 4 teams in this group. Now, these teams are going to play each other all week. You can see it's only these 4 teams playing from Friday all the way through Sunday. You can see that giant setup. Each team will play each other twice in a best of 2 series, just like it was throughout the SPL. So every team will be playing a total of 12 games. 3 opponents, 2 games, twice each. Total of 12 games. The top 2 teams from each group qualify for Super Regionals. So the top 2 teams from this entire week here go to Super Regionals. Here go to Super Regionals. From here and from here. So 8 teams will qualify for Super Regionals. And then after that, there's going to be the Gauntlet. And that's totally different, not related to this LAN. But there will be 1 more North American and 1 more European team that do not qualify from this LAN that make it to the Super Regionals. So, let's go into it talking about Group A, our first week of LANs. First up, we have Orbit versus Fantastique, guys. Orbit, the #1 seed out of Europe, playing really, really strong this year. Of course, the previous Paradigm crew, and then all of that stuff went down to the Paradigm sponsors, so now the Orbit. They have shown how strong and how consistent they are of a team. They've been one of the top teams in Europe basically since the inception of SMITE, all the way back when the crew was TSM. I have a lot of confidence in this team, and I think that Paradigm is very, very easily going to be finding their way towards this top 2 spot. So they're going to win their first game against Fantastique. Next up, we have Team Dignitas versus Fantastique. Now, this should be a good game. Dig and Fantastique. I'm definitely leaning towards Dig in this matchup. It is a LAN, though. So in LANs, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams develop. And keep in mind that you're going to want to be probably changing these picks throughout the week. LANs are all about momentum. LANs are all about momentum. So Fantastique going against Paradigm in this first game. By Paradigm, I mean Orbit, whatever. That will probably put a bit of a damper on them. They've got to play this game right after they go against Orbit. And they're probably going to lose that game 2-0, so they're already coming in a little bit down. I give that 2-0 to Dignitas. On that same day on Friday now, we've got Sanguine and Orbit going at it. I think this one's real easy. I don't even know if Paradigm is going to drop a game this tournament, guys. They're going to be I'm calling them Orbit and Paradigm back and forth. You know what I'm talking about. They're going to be the easy pick here, I think, for you guys, basically, whenever you see them, to be picking them. And finally, we finish up with Dignitas and Sanguine Esports. I've got this going Dignitas 2-0. Dig looking pretty good this split. Not the greatest team, but they're looking pretty good, and I do expect them to come out in this LAN and play fairly strongly as well. I've got Dig and Orbit taking Friday in a sweeping fashion. Onward to Saturday, we've got Orbit versus Dignitas. This will probably be the best type of sets here, this Orbit versus Dignitas matchup that we get out of these this Group A. I still think Orbit's going to take these, but Dignitas has been known with previous teams to show up at land. Not necessarily this roster, but they've had rosters in the past that have almost made some huge upsets at land, but I still give it 2-0 the way of Orbit. Fantastique and Sanguine should actually be a pretty good set. Fantastique, I would say, is going to be your sleeper out of this Group A. I would say Orbit is definitely going to be taking one of those top 2 spots. And then out of that second spot, it's going to be between Dig and Fantastique. Fantastique, if they want a shot at that spot, though, needs to take this game 2-0. If they are dropping games to Sanguine, or for anybody dropping games to Sanguine, coming into this set is going to be where they lose a lot of points. Okay? Got that going 2-0 the way of Fantastique. But people that lose to Sanguine are going to be the ones that are going to start to lose a little bit of positioning. Keep in mind, it's going to be scored kind of like the season was. So 1 win will get you a point, and the other team gets a point. No wins gets you 0 points, but 2 wins gets you 3 points, which is why winning both the games in this set is so, so important. Dignitas versus Sanguine, they best be coming out swinging, and they best be taking this game 2-0, but their last set will be against Orbit, which means they are probably coming in with that two-game loss for this set. So they could be a little bit down coming in for this set. But I'm still going to give it 2-0 the way of Dignitas. That could be a split, though. That could very well be a game that Sanguine wins. Finishing up our Saturday games, we've got Orbit and Fantastique. Don't think too much about it. You see Orbit with the Paradigm logo, you pick Orbit with that Paradigm logo. You know what I'm saying? Don't even think too hard about it. Bada bing, bada boom, lock it up. Fantastique and Sanguine again. Sanguine should be coming hot off the loss the previous day from Orbit, so Fantastique should be just fine. Actually, excuse me, that is Fantastique coming off of the loss from Orbit the day before, so they're actually going to be a little bit down here. This could be another set where Sanguine comes in and splits the game, just like earlier when Orbit will take out Dig. I think that that'll be this set right here, Saturday with your Dig Sanguine game, and Sunday with your Fantastique Sanguine game. Those are both games that it's very, very plausible to go split on. In fact, I'm going to go split here. Both of those games, very, very plausible for Sanguine to be taking games while the other team is still down. Dignitas against Fantastique. These two going head-to-head are going to be the most important games because one of these two teams should be that secondary slot coming through for the LAN. So one of them needs to show up, and whichever team between these two wins these sets between them will most likely be that second spot team, but I do think it's going to be Dignitas. Finishing up, we have Orbit versus Dignitas, easy Orbit, and Orbit versus Sanguine, easy Orbit. So for all of our games, there were a ton of games. We have Orbit over Fantastique, Dig over Fantastique, Orbit over Sanguine, and Dig over Sanguine for our Friday games with Group A. Saturday, we've got Orbit over Dig, Fantastique over Sanguine, Dig over Sanguine, and Orbit over Fantastique on Saturday. And wrapping up our Group A on Sunday, we've got Fantastique, Sanguine split, Dig, Fantastique, Dig 2-0. Orbit over Dig and Orbit over SNG. A lot of talking, a lot of names. Should be an awesome week of LAN. I think probably the other three groups, B, C, and D, are all going to be more exciting than A. I think A is actually going to be the most lopsided group, with Orbit kind of smashing everybody and the other three teams more so fighting it out for that second spot. But the rest of the three LANs should be even more interesting. We'll have the next predictions up for the next LANs, guys, in the following weeks. Let me know if you're watching this on YouTube what you think about it down in the comments. And as always, have a twitching day, y'all. It's the final countdown. Ba-da-ba-boo.